6B, consider approval of capital project ordinance for Part F fund for Royal Park and related budget amendment.
Okay, so we have 3 of these tonight for council. This is going to be the first of the project grant ordinances. This grant ordinance establishes a budget of $750,000 for Royal Park, with $289,700 being paid for by the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund grant that we received. Excuse me. The ordinance expires on the last day of February 2025, which is approximately 1 month after our Part F grant expires. So that gives us a little over or just under 3 years to finish the project. That should be plenty of time. We probably should be done in about 2 years. So hopefully the end of next summer, but it does give us that 3rd year if we need it. Also, we are allowed to go back to them if we need additional time. Again, I don't think we need that, but if we do, that's something that can happen. The ordinance includes all the expenditures that we included in the Part F grant request. Staff recommends approval, and we need a motion and vote to move forward.
To include an approval of a budget amendment.
Both an approval and a budget amendment. Okay. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion for approval and the budget amendment.
All those in favor? And now we need a vote. Do we need another one, or do we go on to C?
Let's see. You made a joint motion for the budget amendment and the ordinance.
Okay, C, consider approval of capital project ordinance for SCIF fund for auditorium and or Royal Park.
Okay, so this is our 2nd grant ordinance. This is for your state capital infrastructure fund grant. We've dedicated $150,000 for auditorium renovations. However, in the scope of work, what I did, we had to fill out the scope of work prior to when we had our budget retreat. So as part of that scope of work, we put in auditorium renovations or park expenditures, just in case council didn't go forward with auditorium renovations. However, council has voted to set this aside for the auditorium, so until you vote otherwise, we can't put it towards anything else. But for the state's purposes, we did want to have a backup plan just in case. So again, for in terms of when this expires, our ordinance would expire on January 31st, 2025. That's our own ordinance. The state does not have a deadline on when this expires. So if we do end up needing to extend that, there's nothing we need to do on the state's end, but we may need to extend it on our end. But again, that's 3 years out. That should be plenty of time. So yeah, at this point, staff needs a motion and a vote, and we recommend to approve.
As well as the budget amendment.
You recommend what?
To approve.
So that can be together.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Could I get a motion, please?
I'm sorry, this one does not require a budget amendment. The next one does, though. My apologies.
I make a motion to approve capital project ordinance for SCIF.
All those in favor? All right. D, consider approval of capital project ordinance for LAP for Main Avenue East Sidewalk Project and related budget amendment.
Yes, and so this is the final project grant ordinance of the 3. So this one is for our Main Avenue East Sidewalk project. This ordinance establishes our budget for the project at $520,000. Just as a reminder, we did talk about this at the budget retreat. This cost could go up. These were estimates that were provided 2 years ago. So we may have to come back and amend this, but until we know exactly what we're looking at, we've recommended council approve $520,000. The ordinance expires on June 30th, 2024. This gives us 27 months to finish the project. If we're unable to do so, we can always come back and extend that. However, I don't think that'll be an issue. The state also, and we'll look at this down the line, with our contracts under new business, but they give us 5 years to finish this project. So if we need to extend that, we can. But at this time, we do recommend passing it. Staff recommends it, along with the budget ordinance or budget amendment. Yeah. We need a motion to vote.
Any further discussion? Okay, get a motion for approval and amendment.
I make a motion to approve the ordinance and the budget amendment.
All those in favor? All right, 7, new business. A, consider approval of 160D revisions to the Code of Ordinances minimum housing section.
We, staff at this time would advise council to table this until next meeting. Todd was supposed to be here tonight to present this for you, but he's not here. So we'll move to table.
I make a motion to table the, code ordinance for minimum housing.
Okay, all in favor? 7B, consider approval of contract with NC Department of Transportation for federal funding for the Main Avenue East sidewalk project.
Okay, this is the first of 3 contracts for tonight. Like with the project ordinances, just to highlight a few details. So this contract is between the Town of Hildebran and the North Carolina Department of Transportation for the Main Avenue East sidewalk project. It represents our 80-20 matching responsibilities. Again, with the initial estimated cost of $520,000, 416 of which is paid for by the LAP program that we submitted it through the locally administered projects program. So we are responsible right now for the estimated cost of $104,000. In terms of eligible project costs, that includes design work, environmental documentation, right-of-way acquisition, and construction costs. Once we are under contract, we'll have 5 years to complete this project. We also must retain all records for at least 5 years after the project. So staff recommends approval, and we need a motion to vote.
Any further discussion? Okay, could I get a motion to approve, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All those in favor? All right, 7C, consider approval of contract with the NC Department of Natural and Cultural Resources for the NC Parks and Recreation Trust Fund Project Agreement.
As you can tell, we got all these contracts at the exact same time. So you got 3 in a row. I think Wendell's gonna be upset. He missed maybe one of the quicker meetings of the year. So we did receive our Parks and Recreation Trust Fund contract this month. So this agreement runs from February 1st of this year, and it runs through January 31st, 2025. So again, this gives us approximately 3 years to complete the project. Again, it amounts to $289,700 in 50/50 matching expenses. All approved expenses occurred during the project period. So one of the reasons we haven't done anything towards the project this time, just as a reminder, is because only expenses occurred during the contract period are reimbursable. So that's why we've waited. But, so once the project is complete, we have to keep all records just like the last grant for at least 5 years. And then we'll have to keep the park and all of its amenities for 25 years. That was the same as with the Hildebran Community Park, if everyone remembers. And it's also standard with any Part F grant. So staff recommends approval, and we need a motion to vote.
Good. Any further discussion? Okay. Could I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
All those in favor? Okay. On to 7D. Consider approval of resolution authorizing disposition of personal property by private sale, the mobile home at 210 South Center Street. Anything you want to add?
No, this is simply just, a resolution allowing us to sell the mobile home for council to approve.
Is there any estimate of value?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's sort of hard to tell, it's a 1991 clay, so it's not quite as old as I am, but it's darn close.
Okay.
And it's, if somebody wrote $5,000, I'd take their arm off. $5,000, moving on.
Well, one understand you can't move it over Burke County, no way,
You can't.
because of the roof.
Yes.
See, they're gonna go move it and set it up, so if you get off right,
Now,
take
you
it.
move it, you just can't set it up.
Okay, I'm just saying, you can't set it up
Yeah,
later,
you're right.
so if you get off, yeah, I'll take it.
All right, could I get a motion for approval?
Make a motion to approve.
All those in favor? All right, 7E, consider approval of request from auditorium renter.
So I had a pastor call. He wants to rent the auditorium the Friday, Good Friday. Our policy is we do not allow alcohol on any of our town property at this time. But he is requesting, to be able to use one bottle of wine. He says they put it in like 6 to 8 glasses and they pass it around. Typically, nobody drinks it, but he said there may be somebody who gets caught up in the spirit and takes it.
The spirit is a long word.
Spirit. So, and I asked, to put in there what he would do with the alcohol once we're done, and he said he would put it all back in the bottle and dispose of it. So, he has to be able to do that in order to rent it. So I told him that we would have to get council approval. So that is his request.
I'll say no.
How long are they renting it for, Alice?
Just that day, he says it's gonna be held at 7:30, so it's probably just gonna be a 3-hour minimal.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? Could I get a motion to approve? I'll make that motion. All those in favor?
Like,
All those opposed?
I oppose.
All right.
Mike Street, I didn't see your hand, you were approved on action.
Okay, 7, G. No, that's, we're on F now, right? Consider refund of renter fees.
Make a motion to consider refund of the renter fee. You're talking about for the movie that was held over here.
Oh, for the Henry River? Presentation.
Yes, Henry River.
Okay, all right. All those in favor?
before, wait 1 minute. Me and you can't vote,
Okay,
and you know why?
yes, sir.
Because you put up some of the money for this,
Okay,
and the money will have to be, so
I got
therefore you're compromised.
all those in favor? All right. 7G, call a special meeting for our second budget workshop.
Okay, so what we're looking at, for the second budget workshop, the mayor did inform me he would be out of town the 10th through the 14th. So unless you want to do this on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, which I don't think we do, the best week that we found so far would be sometime, between the 18th and the 21st.
This is April.
Yes, April 18th through the 21st. We don't necessarily have to get this in, immediately before the April meeting, but if we do it any other time, it kind of either conflicts with us having to get the agenda out for the following meeting, or it conflicts with limits. So that would be the best week. We also discussed possibly being able to do it the day of the 25th prior to the meeting, but that's a lot to get out and do in one day. So
Now that is Easter week.
Wednesday's the 17th.
Fifteenth is Good Friday, so we're gonna be off that day.
So we'll be off the 15th.
Okay, so this is the week after Easter?
That's the week after.
Okay,
I do it from the 19th on. Some people do take good, Easter Monday off.
Tuesday or Wednesday would be good for me. If anybody else,
Yeah, fine with me.
Anybody have a preference?
What days are we talking about? The 19th and 20th or the 26th and 27th?
19th and 20th.
19th, 20th.
And Raymond, do you have any?
Wednesday's the best, May 20th.
Okay.
okay, do we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion to have the second budget meeting on the Wednesday, April 20th,
At
That'll be at
6
6
p.m.
p.m.
6 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Council, community center again,
Sorry?
community center again.
Yes, in the community center.
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor? Okay, and you've got the March facilities report in your packet. So we're going to February tax report, tax collector, it's also in your packet. All right, J, consider approval of Burke County tax settlement.
So, Benny Eisenhower has retired, and part of the statutes, when you leave a position, you have to provide a tax settlement for approval, so that is what he has done for us.
Any discussion?
One thing I would want to point out when it comes to tax collection, Alex and I talked a while back, as most of you know or should know, the county has employed a law firm in Asheville to foreclose on delinquent taxes. And since they are statutorily or by contract, they can collect our taxes, they also collect the Hildebran taxes that are delinquent for the years 18, 19, 20, and so forth. Anyway, they recently sold a piece of property. There was some surplus surplus funds, about $800-something, and Alex worked magic and to get the lawyers in Asheville, the surplus, rather than be exchanged to the state, the surplus came to Hildebran to defer delinquent taxes that had not been paid in a long period of time. Would not have happened had Alex not been on the ball and got that done. So she brought $800 in the county, to the city, that we would not have otherwise done.
Hoping to get that check this week, about $840.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? All right, could I get a motion to approve the tax settlement?
I'll make a motion to approve the tax settlement.
All those in favor? All right, 7K, appoint tax collector for Burke County.
Okay, so currently the interim is Joan Hutchins, and then on April the 4th is gonna be John Bridges. So two separate ones, Brandon?
Yes.
Okay. So, if we can appoint a tax collector for Burke County, Dawn Hutchins effective immediately, and then John Bridges effective April 4th.
Actually, it'll be a tax collector for the town of Hildebran, because the county appoints it for Burke County.
Well, we also appoint him for current years, 18 through current years.
And the new man comes April the 4th.
Yes.
We'll see how that works out.
Any more discussion? All right, could I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All those in favor? All right, 7L, deputy report.
You should have copies of it. You got any questions?
Not too bad last month.
Not for you.
Inflation up, crime down.
We've had 2 or 3 good months.
Someone's coming.
Yeah, you can tell, foot traffic.
After Easter, it's all getting calmed down. You and Conley can go.
7M committee reports. Anything on the technical coordinating committee?
No, not much, although they did make the initial call for, more sidewalk, bike path projects, under LAP, the locally administered projects program. However, we decided that it was probably best to postpone submitting the North Center Street project through that program, at least until next year, or the year after. The only other things they covered, they released the new TIP program, the Transportation Improvement Program, with the revisions for the State Board of Transportation. They released, they endorsed the City of Hickory's application for supplemental congestion mitigation and air quality funding for Sandy Ridge Road project. They approved the fiscal year 2023 Unified Planning Work Program, certified the metropolitan planning process, presented the regional profile on population, workforce, education, and housing, and then NCDOT had their updates throughout the metro area.
Okay, Transportation Advisory Committee.
You covered the first whole paragraph of what I had, so I won't repeat it. A Division 13 project development update and construction update were presented. I have a list of those. Mr. Chris Guffey of Division 13 presented an update noting minimal remaining work on exit 112 expected to be complete by June 2022. A motion was made and seconded to nominate Mr. Bruce Eckert as TAC Chair and Ms. Barbara Beatty as TAC Vice Chair for a term of 2 years. TAC members unanimously approved.
Okay, Western Piedmont Policy Board. I sent the agenda out to you folks on Friday, I think. Basically went over the ADA transition plan, workforce development, board appointments, talked about the government recovery funds and the first reading of the 22-23 budget. And to remind everyone of the annual meeting on this Thursday, starting at 6. Burke Economic Development.
So they had initially talked about doing 2 things. One, requesting an increase in requests for budgetary purposes. They're looking at a 10% increase in requests for us. We're only at $800 some, so it's an extra 80 something for us. They had also talked about doing a capital campaign, going to businesses in Burke County to raise additional funds. From what I understand, at least for now, they've decided to postpone doing that. Just the only update.
Recreation and Tourism Committee.
Nothing to report.
Water Resource Committee. Vedic.
That's me. I'm just gonna sit. Vedic finally met without being on Zoom. We met outside at the Connie Springs Outdoor on March the 27th at 11:30. Dan Boggs gave an annual audit review. The USDA also does a quarterly review, and Vedic's books are open for review at any time by anybody who cares to do that. Carrie gave a financial report. She said everything was looking really good. And I told you last month, I think, about the Secretary of State partnering with Vedic. They now have put Vedic's link on the Secretary of State's website under the title of Funding for New Businesses. It explains loans for startup and existing small businesses, and it says Vedic specializes in loans in Western North Carolina and also provides technical assistance after the loan. Eddie McGinty gave a delinquent report. There were 6 loans that were delinquent. That is only 1% of all the loans that Reddick has out. Got 1 loan that's in judgment and 1 is in proceedings for judgment. 1%, less than
Judgment or
1%.
foreclosure?
Judgment.
You're not foreclosing on the property, you're suing them?
They're renters, and so you have judgment on equipment, okay? So it's not, you know how that goes. 1 new loan was approved and 1 old loan was modified with interest for only 1 year. Yeah. And Betty will be sending you a request for funding. So that should help with the budget. We talked about that, I think, at the budget. They had an announcement from Longview. Longview is having a national night out on Tuesday, May the 3rd, from 5 to 7 at the rec center. They're going to have the police force. Is Burke County going to be there?
We don't have the resources to send. It's open to anybody that wants to come.
Okay. The fire department, EMS, and military from around the county is going to be there. They're going to do free kids ID. They have inflatables for kids, train rides, helicopters, and free food. So I've got this for y'all. So that's it.
With Betty's request for funding, will they provide how much other municipalities will provide?
I
And
can,
how many they are? I know it says West North Carolina. I just like to know the geographic area of membership.
the membership is just the 4, is everybody in Burke County is the one that do the funding. And I can give Alice a copy of that. I have it.
So none of the other places that get loans, none of those counties support.
No, those counties, no. Vedic is a Burke County entity. So most of the funding that comes from, to Vedic is grants and stuff. It's like the FDA loans and the Appalachian Regional loan. All of those are grants is what they basically do all their loaning with. And they have like over $3 million to loan out. So that's pretty good. But if you want that, I can get that to you.
I think it's interesting that it's a Burke County entity, but we place our money lots of places.
Yeah, that's all that they, that's the members that are members of the board of Vedic. It's what you're,
That's the governing authority.
that's the governing authority, so that's what you're funding. And if you want that, you would get.
It was just Burke County, I thought.
No, it's all the
I thought
towns,
places
well,
too.
it's actually all the towns in Burke County plus Longview.
That's partially in Burke.
Yeah, it has like a little,
But it is, Burke's involved.
Yeah. So they're all the towns in Burke County are members of the governing board, and they all have 1 seat on the governing board.
Okay, do we have anything with the library boys since Wendell's not here? No. Okay. Comprehensive Master Planning Steering Committee?
We're gonna have meetings on, every second Monday of the month. There's one chairman, assistant, Calvin from Mill Village is our chairman, and Carolyn from HHVA is the associate of our assistant. They talked about the census, some of the census numbers come back, and it's not in our favor, so to speak, showing us fewer people and even 100 fewer houses than we had back 10 years ago. And I don't know where the 100 houses went, but that's what the census is showing.
I'll interrupt Mike real quick on that. I hate to interrupt him, but yeah, I think we talked about the census maybe before Mike and Jody come on. It showed us losing roughly 400 people, and this was after we added 60 units at Pondview, which should be about 2 people a unit. So you're talking 120 in terms of an increase, and then a 400 person decline. You're talking about 520 per. That's 25%. So however, we talked about maybe possibly challenging that, but due to COVID, the challenge system won't be, they'd shut down up until I think sometime late this year or early next year. So we've looked into that because that does somewhat affect our funding. Yeah. So we will look at that at some point.
I worked for the census for a little bit. And I did actually have the canvas for the new buildings were there at Pondview. And since they weren't inhabited, you really didn't get people counted in for all of those people that are there.
So they hadn't,
And they're not added in, it was added in as a living space, but just with nobody in there. So,
Still lost 100 homes.
so you need to challenge that because it's not right. And I did work for the census and it was a mess. I quit. It was a mess.
Also, in our meeting, we talked about the strengths of the area, the weaknesses of the areas, the opportunities and the threats to the area, things that we could do to improve, work on, and, you know, to build on our strengths and overcome our weaknesses. Just got a list of things. They had each person on the committee pick their top 5 or 6 that they were, you know, the most important to them. So we marked all of those, and they were putting it in some kind of, you know, presentation, I believe. And we're going to have our next meeting on the second Monday of April, and it's going to be on transportation.
Thank you. Okay. 7N, what was that concerning, Logan?
So this is the contract for your state capital infrastructure funds. So this, in terms of the time to expend the funds, we'll have between July 2021 and June 30th, 2023. It's for the $150,000 in SCIP funds that we received from the state. You also, as part of this, so this was the one that we had talked about where we had put down the auditorium renovations, but if you didn't go that route, we could always use it towards the park. And this is also where we had to pass, I think it was either the last meeting or the meeting before the state conflict of interest policy.
So do we need a motion?
Yeah, motion and vote to approve.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
All those in favor? Okay, other business,
Park, securing the park.
yes, sir. Terry, do you want to?
My thing is on the park, is I'm seeing a park up there at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just watched one the other morning, SWAT Toyota. I went out to get my paper to read before I left to go to work. And they come up right by my house, went up there and pulled into the parking park. Doors open. They didn't go very far up into the park. And I was getting ready to leave to go to work, so I couldn't sit around. But they went, I don't know how long it stayed, probably not 30, 45 minutes, but it's on a regular basis. Is there any way we can secure that parking lot, put a chain up, do something to stop them from parking there?
If we didn't have residents that didn't live on the street,
I'm just talking about like the parking spaces. I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna stop them, but,
Yeah.
and it may not, chain may not stop them. You know, parking along the chain if it's put up across there. I don't know, but it's getting to be a regular thing.
Yeah, I walk late at night and about half the time I see somebody up there. I get 10, 11 o'clock at night.
I think that's First Street that goes in behind
it
it.
is.
Yeah, outside of a chain just through those spots. And then the other issue we have is there's actually a small turnaround spot.
Right, I was talking about that.
Yeah.
If you block it off there, go out there parking that turnaround, you can't block it off, can you?
That's
Well, and I
where
think
trash
we-
pickup.
Yeah, I think we even had to put up a sign.
They're about parking out there.
And they're building 2 new houses out there too.
Yeah, right.
Did we look into that?
Yeah, we could look at honestly just putting something out that we could connect a chain to and then have the maintenance person open and close it.
Like I said, just post on each end and a couple of cones where the chain comes through to set there to hold it up so they can see it. But some of these idiots going up there, I'm not gonna say they won't drive through it. But it's getting worse.
We can look at something and then either bring it back to you in April.
Well, regardless whether the park closes with the time change, the hours that it keeps up with, with access being pedestrians can enter that park anytime they want.
Even,
Yeah, you're not gonna stop them from walking up through there because it's open.
Yeah.
But if you can stop them from parking up there,
You can
Yeah,
at
that-
the upper, but the bottom, yeah.
you know, it might help some, what I'm getting at.
Okay, any other new business?
Anything better, but you know what I'm saying right now, it's just getting more and more. And you're seeing a lot of the same vehicles. I haven't been able to get a tag number yet.
And some people, they'll drive to a destination, get out and then walk, and then come back to the car.
Right.
So it's hard to say.
Like I said, I know, well, you know too, where one of the problems at where they're meeting.
We actually went over there, to the Mill Hill houses where we thought they may be going. Nobody knew, nobody seen.
Well, part of it was the
and
house
walked
down in the hole.
Yeah.
And you can see them walk across and go up and meet them. I've seen that on numerous occasions. I mean, the lady that rents the home, there's no, I don't know what, if she can even do anything about it or not. It's her, what, granddaughter or whatever.
Mhm.
But that's where a lot of it's coming from.
Any announcements?
I just wanna say that we're doing an Easter basket giveaway at Town Hall Lobby. We have 4 baskets, and then we're also doing goodie bags for kids for fruit. So if you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever, bring them by and get them that bag and enter it in the baskets. And everything is on Facebook if you wanna see pictures, it's there.
Anything else?
The bikes that come through town, we have that up to 3 times a week. A couple of different clubs ride through here, up to 25 bikes in the group. Plus, is everyone aware of the thief?
Yeah.
I didn't know if everybody knew about it, how big they are worldwide. So we've got a big opportunity for cyclists in this area. Even though they have commercial property here too.
Logan, can we get the code enforcement guy here at one of our meetings just to talk about a few things?
Yes. Yeah, you should be getting a monthly report regardless, but we could have him, either on a as-needed basis, or if council would like him here on a set schedule, maybe
I'd like to see
quarterly,
him here at the next meeting.
next meeting. What, would we wanna set up maybe a quarterly update, just
That would
once
be
a quarter,
great.
have him come by?
That'd be great.
Okay.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, I will make the motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
that's the quickest I was in these hands up.
I can see where that was going. I can see that, I see where that was.
Good job, man, you got right on this.
Thank you, went right on through there with me. You done well.
I haven't had supper yet, Terry. I had to hurry.
I haven't either, thank
Yeah, the pay is-
They have explanation.
I get more questions.